What up, what up, what up, YouTube? It's Blackwing2040, and it's time that I did something that I haven't done on my channel in a long time. You guys know what this topic is, or not topic, segment. It's called Retro Throwback! That's right, Retro Throwbacks are back. And to start the return of Retro Throwbacks, and to be honest, it's almost been a year since I've done a Retro Throwback. A full year, guys. That long. But anyway, today's Retro Throwback is a Cartoon Network related show, and it's one of my favorites, Codename Kids Next Door. Now, you guys know with Retro Throwbacks, I would talk about the show, talk about, the segment, my experience watching the show. Usually, for those new subscribed, who are new to my channel, I used to be able to, play the theme song of that particular cartoon, but I got a copyright strike, and that couldn't happen anymore. So, anyway, I'm just basically, for now, I just talk about the cartoon and my experience with the cartoon. Now, Codename Kids Next Door. Basically, this show really makes you want to be a kid again. Well, basically, makes you want to be a kid for the rest of your life. And me, I'm a kid at heart. And Codename Kids Next Door is one of those shows that definitely makes you feel like a kid at heart. And the dynamic and the aspect of the show, it's weird. It's basically, in a universe where, it's kids that have their own, organization to protect the world against evil adults, except for their own parents, because why would these kids attack their parents? And as well as teenagers. Apparently, the villains of the show are actual adults with supervillain names, and the teenagers, they're just a group. They have their own organization, except they disguise themselves as ninjas. So basically, it's kids versus teenagers and adults, because to my knowledge, I don't think the teenagers have ever worked with the, well, maybe they have, or maybe that, I'm probably sure, pretty sure there's an episode out there where the teenagers did work with the adults. Now, for characters, you have Nigel Uno, number 1, who's the leader of the team. You have Wallaby, aka number 2. He's the funniest member of the group. You have, literally, this is her name, Cookie, who is number 3. I don't know why her name is Cookie, or better yet, not Cookie, it's just pronounced Kookie. Who knows? You have, oh, no, wait, did I say, no, I said the wrong name for number 2. His name is Hoagie. I said it wrong. Oh my gosh. Hoagie, number 2's name is Hoagie. Wallaby is number 4. That was my mistake, guys. So yeah, Wallaby is number 4. He's like the cool one with the he tries his best to be cool. Number 4 was like my favorite member of the team. And you have Abigail, number 5. She's very cool and jazzy with her voice and everything. She was really cool. So I just love the aspects of the Kids Next Door, how they protect the world against the adults. They're also having fun as kids, doing kid things, and they all enjoy each other's friendship. And of course, as the show progresses, when you're younger, when you're a kid, the boys would be boys and the girls would be girls. And when you're a kid, you used to think dating girls was gross. Oh my gosh, to be a kid again, the memories. So yeah, never would I thought that number 4 well, actually I did think number 3 and number 4 were gonna end up together at the end of the show, but I never really seen any connection with number 2 and number 5. Granted, number 2 had a crush on number 5's sister, Cree. She's also a teenager who works with the ninja teenagers, but the concept and the storyline of the show was excellent. It was just really excellent. To go a bit further, you had side characters like number 86. She was like the general of the Kids Next Door. She was really noisy. Number 274, aka Chad, I really thought he was cool until he did that one thing where he fooled everyone to make number 1 to be not denormalized, decommissioned. There we go. So basically, the Kids Next Door had this policy, like once you turn 13, you have to leave the Kids Next Door to be decommissioned. So yeah, and then I guess the same rule applies to the teenagers. So yeah, that's another thing. But I feel like that's a stupid rule. That's a really stupid rule, because all the fun that you would have with the Kids Next Door, all of it, and then you had to be decommissioned, that sucks. That really sucks to me. And, you know, other characters like number 360, yeah, no, not 360, yeah, number 362. She was like the official leader of the Kids Next Door. The leadership of the Kids Next Door kept expanding and expanding, because when number 86 showed up, I thought she was the leader. And then, you know, number 274 showed up, thought he was the leader, but, you know, he tricked everybody. He, you know, he became a teenager. And then number 362 shows up. I'm like, who's the real leader here? It turns out it's number 362. She's the real person in charge. And for the villains of the show, you had a lot of villains. Of course, you know, you had the delightful children from down the lane. I just found it weird that they always talked in sync. It was just weird. And they're always just like so stuck together. That's just weird. Of course, I do remember that episode where one of their members actually left. But, you know, he was undercover in the Kids Next Door just to play a trick on them. And then he went back to the Delightful Kids. And other villains, like Father, for example. Oh, my gosh. Father was he was just a crazy, crazy villain. Talk about savage. Yeah, other villains like Count Spankula, Sticky Beard, Grandma Stuffums. There's a lot of villains like Big Brother, Night Brace, Mr. Wink and Mr. Fib. Those two were so weird together. What do you think we should do with these kids, Mr. Wink? Most indeed, Mr. Fib. The way they talk, it is just weird. Mr. Fib had like tusk coming out of his mustache, and Mr. Wink had like, you know, horns coming out of his head. I'm like, what kind of villains are these guys anyway? Oh my. And of course, I still remember to this day, like it was yesterday, the first episode of Kids Next Door I ever watched was Operation Pool, where, you know, the Kids Next Door tried to, you know, get into the adult pool, but they got forced to be into the kiddie pool. And I just never another thing about the show, I never understood the usage of hamsters. Like, the hamsters were everywhere in this show. I was like, what's the point of the hamsters? I never understood. But one of the biggest highlight moments of Kids Next Door was Kids Next Door Operation Zero. That's basically the movie, the animated feature film for Kids Next Door. It wasn't in theaters. It was just, you know, it aired on Cartoon Network. I definitely recommend that you guys check this movie out. Basically, it gives like a bit of a backstory of the greatest Kids Next Door to ever exist, which was number 0. And turns out, I'll just say it. Basically, number 0 is number 1's father. And Father, you know, who's the father of the Delightful Kids, he's number 0's brother. So, and this is a weird family relation going on. And the main villain of this movie is Grandfather, who's basically, you know, father's father. So basically, number 1 has a weird family bloodline. Number 0 is the greatest Kids Next Door ever, who's his father. And Father, who's the greatest Kids Next Door villain, is his uncle. And Grandfather, who's like the evil of all evil in Kids Next Door, is his grandfather. All these things tied to, oh my gosh, it was just so weird, but it was so, what a twist. That the writers did a really good job with that movie. I definitely recommend that you guys check that movie out. It's just full of twists and turns and thrills. It was just like an adventure. That was one Cartoon Network movie that's definitely on the top list of like best Cartoon Network movies for a particular Cartoon Network show. And Kids Next Door was on the verge of coming back. The writers had this idea of coming up with a new season for it called Galactic Kids Next Door, but it got scrapped, and, you know, Kids Next Door is forever canceled. But the show still lives on in our hearts for those who grew up watching Kids Next Door. But yeah. So, in the comment section below, tell me what were your favorite moments of Codename Kids Next Door. Who's your favorite characters? What did you love so much about the show? As you can see, it made me enjoy being a kid. And trust me, I wish I was still a kid. I miss those days, especially, you know, coming home from, you know, school on Fridays and Kids Next Door would be on. I enjoy those memories. But yeah, let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. As always, I am Vengeance, I am Darkness, I am Blackwing. Stay golden.